Hi physics students, so let's take a look and do just a little bit of graphical vector addition so you can kind of get a look at how this works. So let's just make up a couple of vectors here. So I'm going to do this one and this one. Alright, so you could be asked to do different things with these. So for example, if you're asked to add them together, then this is what you would do, or one of the ways you could do that, excuse me. There we go. Alright, so you could add those together, and then basically you go head to tail. So you put one vector. It doesn't really matter what order you do these in, but you have a starting point, and then you add the arrowhead of one vector touches the tail of the next vector as you go. So you add those up, and you can see that the resultant vector that comes from these would be this vector. Now, if we trace along this, this is going to give us the same answer as finding the components, because you might notice that if we did the components of these two vectors, that the x component here is 2, the y component is 3. For this vector, the x component is 2, the y component is negative 2. So if we sum the x components, we get 4, and if we sum the y components, 3 plus negative 2, then we get, then we get 1 here. Okay, and so same result whether you add the components or add the vectors head to tail. Now, there's another thing that you could be asked to do here with a couple of vectors like this. And let me do some erasing here. You know what, maybe I can just copy all this. Oh, wrong thing. Alright. So this time, instead of adding the two vectors, what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to subtract them. So I thought I'd switched. Okay, that's weird. Alright, much better. Alright, so if I subtract them, I need to get those where they're lined up still. Alright. Alright, when you subtract a vector, you reverse the direction completely by 180 degrees. And that's going to essentially mean when you're adding them, okay, this one will stay the same. But this one is going to reverse directions by 180 degrees. So in other words, right now it's to the right 2 and down 2. And what we're going to have to do is make it go the opposite of that, which would be up 2 and to the left 2. So that's how I would represent that. And then our resultant vector is going to go from the starting place to the ending place, and it will look like that. And you could also go through, I think these are actually easier to do with the components, because when you identify the components of these, changing the direction is maybe even easier than trying to do it graphically. Okay, so This would be 2, this would still be 3, this would be 2, and this would be 2, or negative 2. And then, when you think about this, 3 minus negative 2, y components. So that's going to be 3 plus 2. That gives you 5. And that's what you have here. Then this one's going to be 2 minus positive 2, which is 0, and that's what you get. You have a line just straight up and down there. So hopefully that helps with the graphical addition, and thanks for watching.